father's death there.
Yeah.
We end up having a big fight with Anna's and Harold.
Oh, it sounds exciting.
It is.
And that starts tomorrow at 4:40, but next this afternoon, it's Rolfs Cartoon Club. Graham and I have been drawing pictures of Rolf Harris, and I did this one. It's good, isn't it?
Is my one?
And Graham did this one. That's a little Rolfaroo. That's funny. You
Brilliant.
can do the music as well, can't you? Excellent. And here it is.
It's Rolfs Cartoon Club! You can join today! What? Yeah! G'day, welcome to Rolfs Cartoon Club with the most irresistible mouse in all Mexico, Speedy Gonzales. A visit to a new feature-length cartoon film, American Tail 2, being filmed in London. And Drip Along Daffy, the sheriff duck trying to clean up a western town. Don't panic, I didn't forget my trousers. I wore these shorts for a reason. I thought it would be really nice to show you how you could practice drawing from life simply. You can draw your own knees. Now, this is a view which is very difficult to draw because you're not drawing what you know, you've got to draw what you see. You'll notice that that curve goes down a little bit, probably a little bit further there like that. I get that line. Now, the little toe bit comes out just at the edge of that curve. That goes there like that. And then there's another little bit there. And you see the big toe of the other foot comes in there. And there's a lot of little curvy bits there. It's the same with humans as it is with animals. There are no straight lines in the human body, only curves. Nice, isn't it? My best feature, my knees. A lot of people have said that. It's amazing, isn't it? What people find attractive. I mean, can you imagine all the senoritas in Mexico fancy this fella? You've probably not ever seen him in this position before. It's a fairly simple view, and you remember that lovely curve I was talking about? Well, you've worked out what that is, haven't you? Yeah, it's a top view of a Mexican mouse wearing a big sombrero. Of course. It's Speedy Gonzales' cartoon called Gonzales Tamales. Poor old Sylvester. Well, that's got to be some of the hottest, spiciest food in the world. Chili peppers for a start, and then Tabasco sauce. Did you ever see American Tail, that feature-length cartoon film about a little lost, lonely, penniless European mouse that arrives in the huge metropolis of New York? Beautiful animation. Well, they're now making a sequel called American Tail 2 in London. We've got some workshoppers with us today. Ladies first, Karen and Lucia and Dean, and right back to this end, Oliver. Is that going to be the speed of that sequence, or is that just a couple of camera tests?
No, that is definitely the speed that he will be, unless it's changed by the directors because they want it in a different way.
Rolfs Cartoon Club! Rolfs Cartoon Club! Well, this is the place where they're creating the animated feature film American Tail 2, and this is Cindy Woodburn, who is production manager, am I right?
That's right.
Tell us about all this.
Well, this is the animation station, and it's sort of our library for animation, and every time that something's done, it gets checked in and then checked out of the station.
The animators would come here and
The
say,
animators
finished?
would come here and say, I finished the scene, and then we take a blue card and we put a blue card in the slot, and that means that that part of the movie is done.
And the yellow?
The yellow means that that's where it is. And so we could come up and find out where any given drawing is at any time.
So you're living for the day when that's all blue.
When it's all
a blue wall.
We're going to have a blue wall and have a big party then.
Well, you've got enough people working here. How many people?
We've got 280 people here at the studio.
And from all over the world, I gather.
That's right. We've got 24 nationalities. On this floor, we have animation and special effects, camera, editorial, the directors, the background artists.
It's all very open. Does that help in the working together?
It does, because it's a team effort. Everyone's connected to each other. We all have to talk all the time, and we feel that having a nice open environment like this makes the work easier.
So you're the frivolous feline I've got to whip into shape? Oh, I got my work cut out for me.
I don't have to listen to this. I am a god.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah? Yeah. Yeah?
In the first film, they thought they got rid of all the cats, but it turns out there's another gang of cats come in and move them out of their rather sort of slum dwellings that they're living in, and then persuade them to travel out west with a trick, with a puppet, down in the sewer.
The Muscovitzes travel out west on a train and finally get to their dream frontier land, Green River, and unfortunately there are cats out west as well.
The two directors, Phil Nebelenk and Simon Wells. How do you go about creating the characters?
Well, I think a lot of the inspiration for the characters and character design comes from the voices of the actors. In the case of our villain, we used the voice talent of John Cleese. And we were able to get a lot of great design from him because we were inspired by his photographs, and working with him in the studio, he was able to give us a lot of funny expressions.
But also so much of the character that comes with the voice that you already associate with the voice.
And do you use actual expressions to try and get the same expressions on the character?
Oh yeah, and our animators study videos of you know, things like A Fish Called Wanda and the Schweppes ads and the you know, all of the Monty Python and all that stuff to really get the mannerisms of performance and behavior of the character.
Attention! Keep it clean and tidy. Plenty of violence, but no eating. Right. Hello.
We saw the old dog earlier on, the old has-been.
Yes, that's our ex-gunslinger, Wiley Burp. And the voice we used there was James Stewart.
The classic cowboy.
Beautiful.
Just wonderful to work with him.
And based on his voice, we designed a dog that would look and act like he does.
No, all wrong.
What did I do wrong? You want me to hold it in my mouth and dribble all over it?
You want to act like a dog, you got to think like a dog.
Let me introduce Scott Santoro, you're actually supervisor of all the effects department. Can you tell us maybe a little bit more?
Well, it's anything that's not character, so that usually includes props, wagons, trains, fire, anything that God does is what effects animators do. So families throughout riding in their little tin, which they caught up above and fell into the sewer. So they've basically got a roller coaster ride ahead of them. The water is placed on top of the background.
Show us that sewer then.
Here's the tunnel.
Where do special effects come in the scheme of things?
Well, it comes after character animation usually, because, as in this scene, the family is in a tin, and so we have to sort of animate around them. It is possible to do in a scene like this the water first, but generally, as far as coordinating, it's better to have the actors first before you throw water on them. You know, that's the idea.
You see, our character guys, the character animators would do that sort of thing, whereas with special effects, what we do is we do, say, the spit as he open out. If he got lots of saliva in his mouth, we do the spit coming out here, so that so that you go. So if you had, we've got some really nasty cats, and they're chasing the mice, and they're kind of like getting a bit hungry as well, and they're going, ah, and they've got this like saliva falling down their mouth. And it's really gross, but we quite enjoy doing the nasty things like that.
We're actually here with Steve Birch. Sorry to interrupt you there. In the special effects department. Can you explain some of the other things, perhaps some of the stuff that the youngsters could do as a special effect?
Right, well, what I...
Let me get rid of that, yeah.
Right, okay. Well, what I was thinking that you might be interested in doing is just some simple raindrops falling down and then hitting the ground and splashing off, because you can do them quite quickly, and then you can test them in the cameras over there just to see how it goes. However you do your rain, you can almost trace it off as long as you keep it going in a straight line. And if it hits the ground here, then something really radical happens and it starts exploding. Because it's travelling in this direction, most of the water would naturally carry on and splash off over there in that direction. So that's why I've got most of it coming this way.
And you can see them splashing there?
Plop. Plop.
See that? Flip.
One those no good ornery varmints.
Fiver, my son, come back. Oh, thank heaven.
Show me hat.
I was expecting everything to be drawn, and then we come in and see this magnificent model of a stagecoach.
Yeah, well, what happens is that on things like this, the effects do the props as well. Like anything that isn't a character, we'll do like stagecoaches, trains and everything. So we use the model to use as a big reference material, really. That's basically what the model's for.
So you've got it in the position where you can just look up and see the underneath view of that?
Yeah, because in this particular thing, the stagecoach is bouncing along and then it just like leaps into the air. And that's why it's craned up in such a peculiar position, just so I can see.
Look up and get reference.
Yeah.
That's not. What?
Did you notice, kids, there was a special effect bit in there where they dropped the bone. Can you run it back to the bone bit? That's running backwards now, of course.
Yeah, it's running backwards.
They all sound Swedish, though. There you go. Now run that again, forwards.
That's not.
See the dust there? We have with us Nick Fletcher, who's the supervising editor. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Tell us about what we're looking at now.
Well, from an editor's point of view, unlike an ordinary film where we shoot the film and then edit it, in animation we basically do it in reverse. We edit the film first.
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, because animation is quite expensive and takes a long time to do,
yeah.
It's impossible really to get animators to animate a long scene and then to just use maybe one little section of it. So what we do is we have a script, and then the boys, the directors or whoever, you know, will draw storyboard drawings that we then shoot on film and cut in alongside the dialogue.
So you get just a still drawing.
For the correct
amount of time.
For the correct amount of time. And then we can fine cut that or jiggle them about. So we basically get the whole structure of the film worked out before anybody starts animating. So when the animator comes to draw, that shot may only be, say, half a second long, and that's how long they'll actually draw for. I mean, they will draw the 12 frames, yeah. So we start off with the storyboard drawing, which the animator then will animate to the correct length, and then it is shot on film as a pencil line test to check it all works before the people fill in all the colours, because that obviously is a time-consuming thing.
We've got two drops here that are continually coming down, and we've got the splashes here, which work really well. We've got another one coming in here.
Are you pleased with that, Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be. That's lovely.
Right, Lucia, here's your one. You've done some nice big blobs here coming down, and we've got the explosions here.
You've got shadows on the side of each drop.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's good. Those splashes are good. What do you think, Oliver?
I think it's good. I like it.
Good. You notice the splash goes out and comes back in again.
It's like the water
Wow.
is being soaked up in a big sponge.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Imagine that's very dry ground.
This is the sequence where the Wiley gang does the long walk down the street towards the evil saloon.
Being watched by all of the animals around.
There's Rifle, and Tiger, and Wiley Burp.
At the end of the sequence, you'll notice true to the classic Western, we even animated the sun flares, because with a rostrum camera, you don't get any of these kind of effects. But with a live-action camera out there in the desert, you actually get sun flares happening. All of that work, all of those little circles and lines and so on, which are lens effects that you get with the live action, we animated all that.
I mean, this scene has a lot of special effects. For example, there's tumbleweeds, and there's a light bit of smoke. See the smoke coming through the
shadows
scene?
cast by the tumbleweeds.
And the special effects people would have done that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love Westerns, don't you? Years ago, there used to be a Western series on television called The Lone Ranger. And he had a magnificent great big horse called Silver. And he used to gallop along shouting out, "Hi-ho, Silver!" Well, Daffy in this one, he shouts out, "Hi-ho, tinfoil." Hey-ho, plywood, away! Oh, who are you supposed to be then? The lone Rolf Ranger. Yep. And I'm arranging for you to clean up this cartoon cockpit or get out of town. Yeah. Well, it is a bit of a mess. Draw! Hey, just a minute. I ain't packing a gun. Nope, I meant draw the address. But they all know you know the address, don't you, by now? Rolfs Cartoon Club, Post Office Box 60, Bristol, BS 99 7HN. And if you want to enter our cartoon strip competition, send on an ordinary bit of paper any number of drawings up to 6. It's like a cartoon strip in a newspaper, okay? And it's got to be illustrating a story or a joke. Put your name, address, and your membership number on the back. And I'm fixing to meet up with you on Rolfs Cartoon Club next week. A four-legged friend, a four-legged friend. He's faithful to the end. You're going to keep singing this all the way through the music? Yep. It's my Western sign-off song. Don't interrupt me. Oh, no. My four-legged friend, my four-legged friend. That wonderful 1, 2, 3, four-legged friend.
Graham McGrath from the Sea Dragon, which starts tomorrow, has been our special guest today. You watch Rolf a lot, don't you?
Yeah, brilliant. Really,
Your
really
favourite
good.
programme?
Yeah, one of my
well,
favourites.
There you go. Sea Dragon starts tomorrow. Brand new series tomorrow at 4:40. What's happening in the first episode?
Well, Pat Roach, who plays Aslak the Viking, is the one who captures me just in the Britain.
Yes.
Gets taken away on the Viking raiding ship, the Sea Dragon.
Oh, great. Well, we
Very
look forward
exciting.
to that. Thanks ever so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And also Raggy Dolls, Disney's DuckTales, and Speedy and Daffy. That's tomorrow. See you then. Bye.
Juniper.